Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Neil, and we are about to watch episode 6 of season 1 of Lost. Welcome back to all of you that have subscribed. I'm really excited to see how quickly the audience for this is growing. Clearly, Lost has a really passionate, hardcore fan base, and I love that you guys are open to new reactors watching the show for the first time. Thank you for all your support. This episode is called House of the Rising Sun, which immediately makes me think of the 1964 classic rock hit by the Animals. It was a version of a previous folk song that had been around since at least the 30s, probably much longer than that. Woody Guthrie did a version in the 40s, but everybody remembers the Animals version from the 60s. It's classic rock. And last episode, episode 5, was called White Rabbit. And while they alluded to the Alice in Wonderland connotations of White Rabbit in the show, it's also a song by Jefferson Airplane, another classic rock song, this one from 1967. Jefferson Airplane. This show's about an airplane crash. House of the Rising Sun is by the Animals. There's animals of some sort on the island. There's at least wild boar, if nothing else. I feel like nothing is left to chance. Nothing is coincidental in this show. Everything matters. So I'm very curious to see whether they're going to stick with the classic rock song as episode title motif. They've done it 2 in a row. Let's see if that carries on. I'm not looking ahead at all before I start watching these. So I'll find out in a week whether they carry this pattern on or not. Time for some complete, open honesty here. Last episode, I told you all that I am an assistant director. I have had the pleasure of working on a J.J. Abrams show. Nothing as big as Lost or any of his movies. I did a TV series of his back in 2009 or 2010 called Alcatraz. It only got 13 episodes. I only joined the show for episode 7. There was a bit of a shake-up within the assistant director department, and they needed some new blood, so I came in as a second assistant director. This was at the time when Lost was at its absolute peak. Anything J.J. Abrams touched was gold, and this show got greenlit based on a really cool premise, but I'm not sure it was nearly as fully realized as Lost was. I'm not sure JJ wrote any of the episodes. He certainly didn't write any of the ones that I worked on. He never came to set in Vancouver where we shot it. I think he was basically attached as an executive producer and not much else. He wasn't directly involved in the day-to-day production of the show. The producers knew what the fans expected from a J.J. Abrams show, and one of the things they expected was the mystery, the hidden clues, all of that. And so one of our missions, and something that I was directly involved in, was hiding certain numbers in plain view on set. I can't even remember which numbers they were, but there were certain recurring numbers that we took the opportunity to hide. So if we were doing a scene in a bar, I would make sure that certain billiard balls were facing camera. So that we could read their numbers, that sort of thing. We'd set clocks to certain times, that sort of thing. But I'm not sure the show even ever knew what those numbers would end up meaning. We were just planting clues, and I'm not sure whether the mystery was fully understood in the writer's room, or whether we just never got the time to fully explore what that mystery was. In any case, we only got 13 episodes. It was a really cool experience. But I've worked on a ton of different TV shows over the years, and that one just kind of faded into the background. But because of that experience, I know that numbers matter in Lost. I know that there are numerical clues. So I've been writing down pretty much every number that I see. I know what Kate's prisoner number in her mugshot was. I've written that down. I'm tracking seating numbers, the flight number, all of these sorts of things, anything that may matter. One number I'm noticing is coming up a lot, 23. Now, 23 is just a common random number. When writers want to use a common random number, 9 times out of 10, it'll be 23, 37, or 73. Don't ask me why, but that's how the human brain works when it comes up with a random number. Those are the top 3. They come up all the time in pop culture. But 23 is popping up a lot. Kate's reward was $23,000. Jack says his seat number was 23A. When we listened to the memorial service, one of the dead was seated in 23C, which, as an aside, makes me really wonder because we didn't see anybody seated in Jack's little section of his row. And if Jack was in 23A, he would have had the window seat instead of the aisle where he was sitting directly across from Rose. In fact, Jack was sitting, if he was in row 23, in 23C when he was having that conversation with Rose. Now, he may have just moved over, but where was the dead person that had that seat? I think their name was Harold Wanstead, if I could hear correctly in the memorial service scene from episode 3. Another instance of 23, and I'm stretching a little bit here, but after the woman drowned in last episode, episode 5, we are down to 46 survivors, which is 2 times 23. And yeah, that's all I've got so far. But I'm paying attention to numbers, and I'm very curious to see what they end up meaning. Other than that, I'm ready to get back into this. Episode 5, again, opened with a tight close-up of an eye. That seems to be a very recurring motif. It's happened at least 3 episodes. I have to go back and check episodes 2 and 3 to see that it didn't happen in those ones as well. I definitely remember it happening in the premiere, in 4 with Locke, and in 5 with young Jack. So that's cool. But I'm ready to get in and see next episode. Actually, one more thought. I feel like episode 5 was a nice palate cleanser of sorts. It was a bit of a mini resolution, if nothing else. Jack obviously had the resolution. He got to deal with his father's death a little bit, although there's still some mystery involved with the body missing and all of that. It seems characters' roles are really becoming resolved and defined. Jack is the leader or the mayor or whatever you want to call him. It seems, Sawyer's calling Kate the sheriff now, and she seems to be in that sort of law enforcement type role. Sawyer's the black market guy. Locke, I don't know. I feel like there's a burgeoning religion starting up around him almost, although he's the only practitioner of it so far. But yeah, I find it interesting that people are sort of settling in, and then finally towards the end of episode 5, when Jack came back and he basically said, "Okay, we've been here for 6 days. We've been waiting to be rescued. Let's start dealing with the fact that rescue might not be coming, and it's no longer about waiting, and it becomes about long-term survival." Now, they found water. That's great. Apparently, they can kill a boar, but I don't know if that's enough to be a regular food source or not. But, maybe we get into a bit of the Swiss Family Robinson of it all right now, where they start building more permanent shelters and doing the castaway thing a little bit. Okay, on that, let's get into it. I'm excited for episode 6 of season 1 of Lost. This one is called House of the Rising Sun. Right on the eye again. I'm going to have to go back and see episodes 2 and 3, because it seems to be definitely the way every episode opens, with an eye, extreme close-up on an eye opening.
Hey, Charlie. Ask Jack about his tattoos.
Oh, you guys have an inside joke. How absolutely wonderful for you both.
So Charlie's got the one tattoo, and Jack has a mysterious one, but I haven't had a close look at it. We know her name is Son. Do we know his name yet? But he definitely seems to be the most successful fisherman by a long shot in the group.
Miss, champagne de Chanel.
We're getting into their backstory. This is fascinating. I felt like they wouldn't be explained for a while. Oh, are they even a couple? Are they just...
Creo. Mucho.
Are they actually husband and wife?
빨리 이곳을 떠나고 싶어. 응?
어디로?
Or
미국.
are they like eloping? Whoa.
여보,
What happened to him? They had such a loving relationship and now.
왜 그래요?
Whoa! What was that about? Whoa! What? What on earth? What happened? What on earth got into him? Oh my god! Is this just testosterone jealousy, or is there more to it than that? What was that about? What got into him? He was like fishing and then what? Man.
What happened?
Did we miss something? Is there something they haven't shown us?
Water's this way.
I mean, there's definitely been a very subtle connection between
Luck.
her and Walt's dad. I wish I knew Walt's dad's name. I feel like I missed it the first time and I haven't heard it since.
Keep an eye out for any medical supplies, drugs in particular.
Drugs.
Yeah, Charlie. You and your drugs. How's the heroin doing? How much do you have left, buddy? Okay, his fingers still say late. I'm going to be checking that every episode now. Michael. Okay, his name is Michael.
And all of a sudden, this dude is all up on me. I didn't do anything. 시끄러워!
Meeting with Dad didn't go well.
어떻게 됐어?
돌아가셨어.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
아직은 그런 장난치지 마.
What happened to the relationship? Because they're so good right here. They're so in love. What? They've got such a... I mean, is it just the crash that changed them, or is there more to it? How far behind before the crash is this?
Keep still, man.
Oh, good job for
Try to cover that.
Dominic.
It's the most
Those are
common
real
fear ever.
bees.
It's never gonna work.
Some of them are CG, but I think there's some real ones in there.
Wouldn't be an irrational fear of bees if I could just pull myself together, would it?
Maybe it is all CG. They did a good job. Oh, no! Shit. I wouldn't expose more... Oh, yeah. Kate and Jack are basically getting naked. They're gonna have sex this episode, aren't they? Or at least get romantic. What now? What now? Snake? Oh. Old dead dude. Whoa. So is that one of the survivors from 16 years ago?
Any idea how long they've been here?
Long. Takes 40 or 50 years for clothing to degrade like this.
Okay, so there were dead people before the 16 years ago ones.
What is it?
There were... It's like the backgammon thing. It's the oldest game in the world. Two sides, one is light, one is dark. It's all Locke's thing, right?
Fantastically.
Bloody hell.
These are the people who were here before us.
Locke doesn't know.
What are you talking about?
He hasn't been part of that 16-year transmission thing, is he?
Our very own Adam and Eve.
Yeah, he's definitely the religious
뭐 하는 거야?
저거 너무 심해.
the religious voice in the group, isn't he?
당신의 꽃 한 송이가 내 인생의 전부였을 때
Oh, he's changed since he went to work for her father. He's become her father. And it's not a
아버지는
loving marriage the same. It's not what she thought she was getting into.
I think one of us should stay and help Charlie salvage the wreckage.
You offering?
Sure. Give me a chance to get to know him a little better.
I think he also wants to learn about the transmission.
People are probably
Charlie's definitely the weak link in the secret keeping group.
너도 놈한테 일일이 얘기할 필요 없어.
A thief? What did he steal? What did he steal?
여보,
Does he think he's stealing his wife?
여보 왜 그래?
말 좀 해봐.
What the heck? Why is he covered in blood?
여보,
What?
다쳤어? 도대체 아빠 밑에서 무슨 일을 하는 거야?
Uh-oh. Is her dad a criminal? Like, I mean, obviously, it's a rich family.
날좀 봐.
What's the Korean equivalent of the tongs? Is that what he's part of now? The Korean equivalent of Yakuza or tongs? Seems like everyone's got a mystery, don't they? I hope there's just a couple of normal characters that don't have any crazy backstory. But maybe everyone's got a secret.
You will see it again.
Oh, yeah? What makes you say that?
Because I have faith, Charlie.
I have to do a little digging in history because I know there was a famous John Locke in history,
It's about time.
and I'm not sure whether he was a religious figure or not, but I kind of need to punch him into Wikipedia and do some research.
A while longer.
Locke is such a
Okay. If you've got that under
an
control,
interesting
I'm gonna
last
start
name
talking
choice
about
for a character. You know, you got the whole lock and key thoughts, but
Start setting up camp.
but also calling him John Locke. That's a direct
You'll see it.
historical nod.
Digging in anywhere else is suicide.
It is the only source of fresh water we found, Saeed.
And staying on the beach, in the sun without water. That's not suicide.
Yeah, the show's. I feel
I'm
like
not going to admit defeat.
I feel like factions are going to form. I don't know who's on whose side yet, but factions are definitely going to form. You don't want this to turn into Lord of the Flies, do you?
People are seriously considering following Jack to the caves. I'd like to know where you stand.
Right here. I got one priority right now, and that's get my kid off this
So
island.
we got two leaders, Jack and Saeed, and people are going to pick teams.
당신 남편이나 당신 아버지가 당신을 찾기 위해서 무슨 일이든
She's going to run away. She's
우리
going to.
강아지 좀 부탁할게.
She wants a divorce. She wants to run away. Taking your lessons. What kind of lessons?
11시 15분. 11시 15분.
11:15. 11:15. 11:15.
11시 15분.
I'm writing that down.
Oh, great. Look who came to chat.
I need to talk to you.
Whoa. She speaks English. What? Were those the lessons?
Your husband tried to murder me for a watch? I found this watch 2 days ago.
It belongs to my father. Protecting that watch
Oh.
is a question of honor. You don't know my father.
He's a criminal
I need
mastermind.
your help.
Are Michael and Son going to become like a new couple? We really do need to divide the group up a bit, don't we? I'm curious how Locke became paralyzed. He was only paralyzed for 4 years. So was it an accident or a disease or something else?
What I know is that this island just might give you what you're looking for, but you have to give the island something.
Yeah, he's like starting a religion. Like he's got this crazy faith in the supernatural characteristic of the island. Living is easy with eyes closed.
Look up, Charlie.
Seriously, is it right above him?
I want you to look up.
Is it seriously up there? Wow. Which way is Kate gonna go? She's got to go with Jack, right?
It's almost time to go.
She's not gonna.
Just what is it that you did?
Oh, we're gonna answer that?
No.
Oh, no. Keep it a secret. Keep teasing us.
You know where to find me too.
Well, they're like breaking up.
Stay away from me. And my kid.
So the Koreans are going to go inland with Jack and Hurley and presumably Locke and Charlie, Michael and Kate and Saeed
16 hours I need to land at LAX.
are going to stay. 11:15. There's the car. Or is she going to chicken out and not do it? I'm not fully clear on what the plan is. And I'm still not sure why they were in Sydney going to LA. Like, what brought them to Sydney in the first place? He's still the man that... Oh, yeah, she's not going. The man she loves is still in there somewhere. I just realized the double meaning in the title. House of the Rising Sun, and her name is Sun. I'll have to go back and check whether the title's got it S-U-N, like the song, or S-O-N, like her name.
Can I ask you something?
Are you sure this is where you want to be?
Take a good look. Just between you and me. Are you sure that this is
It's where you want to be. Clear meaning in that last line. Okay, so the title is called House of the Rising Sun, S-U-N, but it is a bit of a nod to Sun, the Korean woman's name. I think it's really cool that we got to learn that backstory, and they really spent a lot of time in that backstory with the Korean couple. She was going to run away from her husband, and she chose not to, and now she's stuck on a desert island with him, and it's still not the relationship she wanted it to be. You know, it's still a difficult marriage that she's not happy in. But she knows that the man she loves is in there somewhere. The group is split up into two factions. Saeed leading the beach people and Jack leading the cave people. Looks like Jack's group includes the Koreans, Hurley, Locke, Charlie, a few other extras that we haven't been introduced to yet, and I didn't get a good look. There might have been a few others in there that I missed. So, but it makes me think that Saeed still has clearly Kate, Michael, and Walt, presumably Sawyer, presumably who else am I missing? That's Boone and his sister. I don't think we saw any of them at the cave, so presumably they've all stayed on the beach. But yeah, it was weird. Like, after the incident with the beehive and them stripping, I could have sworn that this was going to be an episode where that blossoming romance between Jack and Kate was going to take the next step. But instead, they kind of had this breakup of sorts where Kate decides to stay on the beach and Jack decides to go to the waterfall. What I like about this show a lot is it's messing with expectations. We think we know where a story goes. We think we know what to expect. I talked about this a couple of episodes ago. We consume so much story in our lives between TV, movies, books, and more that we really understand the archetype of story, even if we don't understand it in those terms. It just means we know what to expect, what the story how it should unfold. So when a story comes along and really breaks with that, it's jarring. Not necessarily in a bad way. If it's still understandable, if it's still human, if it still feels real, then those are the really groundbreaking stories, because they literally are breaking new ground in what we understand story to be and what we expect from story. So I'm really fascinated to see how the show continues to break with expectation. Yeah, I like that there's this, the first number of episodes were so packed with information and major twists and major questions and mystery. And I like that we're actually taking time for a couple of episodes to just breathe a little bit. Let us catch our breath. Let us learn some things without throwing more and more mystery on us. I do find it interesting that, I've talked about this a little bit. People are finding their roles, and the role I'm most curious about is Locke, because he seems to be the one that's, I keep saying he's starting a new religion, like he believes, he has faith in the power of the island, whatever that means. But, it's almost like a cargo cult or something. Pacific Islanders, back when in the Pacific Islands were colonized by Western nations, the U.S. would come in, or another nation would come in, and they'd build an airstrip, and then planes would land and bring cargo. And to the natives of these islands, in their minds, they meant if you built a landing strip, then cargo would arrive from planes. And so they would build landing strips and pray at them and basically do everything they could to ensure that planes would arrive, but without understanding the mechanisms of trade and colonization. And they became known as cargo cults because their place of worship were these handmade airstrips in the middle of the Pacific. And obviously this is a little different, but it is a geography-specific South Pacific Island modern religion. So I'm curious to see what develops of that from Locke. He says he's a meat and potatoes guy, but he also seems to be the one that's doing the most deep thinking about their situation. Anyway, another really cool episode. I love that we're learning more about new characters every episode. I'm hoping in the next handful we get into Sawyer's backstory, Charlie, Boone. There's so many characters I've still got a great deal of curiosity about. I wasn't expecting to learn about the Korean couple this quickly, but I think it's really cool that we did. So I think it's time to put a pin in it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, for watching, for sharing in my journey. Thank you for being great, for leaving great comments, for all your encouragement. If you are liking what I'm doing, please consider leaving a thumbs up, subscribing, hit that bell so you get a notification as soon as my next episode drops. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Take care, stay healthy. Cheers.